What's going on, everyone? Chris Mack coming at you today with the NECA Toys Universal Monsters Ultimate Boris Karloff The Mummy, as well as the accessory set. Unfortunately, these are sold separately, but if you like to pose things or do action figure photography, this set is definitely up your line. So if you want to pick both these up at the time of this recording, they are available on Big Bad Toy Store. However, as I always say, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics. So let's start with the action figure. Love that they use the old school painting because a lot of the more modern, digitally done movie posters just do not do justice, just like this. I love how it says it comes to life. Ultimate Mummy. Beautiful stuff there. Great product shot of Boris Karloff as the mummy there. Some awesome product shots there on the back of how you can pose this figure. Same on the side, on the top. Same beautiful rendition of the movie there. Nothing on the bottom except for the credits. And as I always say, I love that they give credit to everyone, and I wish that other action figure companies did the same thing. Then you open it up. I almost forgot. Love this shot of the mummy coming out of the tomb. Beautiful there. All the accessories and everything that we're going to be diving to. And I prefer the black and white. I know they have the colored releases, but because the film was shot in black and white, I'm just a stickler, and that's why I grabbed this one. Now, as for the accessory set, I love how even though this is the action figure stuff, they made sure to make it look like an old school, like 1940s type painting. Beautiful stuff there. Same on the top with kind of a cool concept of what you can do with the figure. Same on the side. And on the back, just a nice different array of ways you can set up the figure for whatever that you want to do with it. And then a gorgeous picture of the sarcophagus here on the side. On the bottom, same credits. Absolutely love it. Now, with that said, is this worth your time? Let's open this tomb and get a closer look. The Mummy was a 1932 pre-code horror film, directed by Karl Freund, with a screenplay by John L. Balderston. Released by Universal Studios, it stars Boris Karloff in the dual role of Ardath Bey and Imhotep / the Mummy, along with Zita Johann, I believe is how you pronounce her name, as Helen Grosner, David Manners as Frank Wimple, Edward Van Sloan as Dr. Sid Mueller, and Arthur Byron as Sir Joseph Wimple. In the film, Imhotep is an ancient Egyptian mummy who was killed for attempting to resurrect his lover. After being accidentally awakened by a team of archaeologists, he disguises himself as a modern Egyptian named Ardath Bey and searches for his true love, whom he believes has been reincarnated in the modern world. Inspired by the real-life discovery and opening of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 and the rumored Curse of the Pharaohs, film producer Carl LeMay Jr. commissioned story editor Richard Shire to find a novel for an Egyptian-themed horror film, mirroring how Dracula and Frankenstein inspired their respective 1931 adaptations. Karloff's first day of shooting involved the mummy awakening from his sarcophagus. It took makeup artist Jack Pierce about 8 hours to apply the effects and then another 2 to remove. Karloff described it as the most trying ordeal I had ever endured. Those iconic bandages remain a hallmark of the film. Interestingly, unlike other Universal monster films, The Mummy had no official sequel, though the character was later reimagined in The Mummy's Hand from 1940 and its subsequent installments. Upon its release, The Mummy received mixed reviews, but over the decades it has transformed into a classic, with fans recognizing its reliance on mood and atmosphere, rather than the thrills typical of modern horror. Now you might be wondering, what does pre-code mean? This term refers to a period in American cinema from the late 1920s to the early 30s, before the strict enforcement of the Motion Picture Production Code, or Hays Code. This code imposed stringent moral guidelines on film content. Before its implementation, the pre-code era is notable for its bold storytelling, sophisticated themes, and sometimes risque elements, creating a stark contrast to films released afterwards. Now, with all that history aside, does this action figure live up to Boris Karloff's legacy? The sculpt in and of itself is absolutely beautiful, guys. I believe there is a colored version. I am not 100% sure on that. But the black and white, just because that was what was of the time, I'm drawn to these. That's why I have the black and white Frankenstein, Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein. But looking at this, they really captured that look of Imhotep arising from the grave. And I gotta say, in the movie, I know the guy is breaking down from madness, seeing the mummy face to face, but I love how he's just like, he took a little walk. It's just a great moment because you feel that uncomfortableness in the guy just slipping on reality after reading the scroll. And you can just see the terror of how that would work with someone from this time. And these head sculpts just look great from that. The open mouth one with the eyes, beautiful. And then the other heads that come with it, this is the closed one that you can use for when the mummy is about to awaken. I'm glad that they included a closed eye one, because initially when I was beginning to shoot, I was like, oh crap, did they have all open eyes? That would have sucked. But just all the bandage work that Boris Karloff endured really paid off, and you could see the care taken in these sculpts. This one's kind of a more neutral. I mean, the side-eye thing's kind of obnoxious, but still, great work all around. As for the hands that he comes with kind of a neutral opening hand, which is cool. And then I love on the right hand, they made sure to make that ring very up close and personal. That just looks good. The rotting on the fingers look good. The other hands that he comes with is more of a more open, like kind of reaching or prying himself out of the grave. And then, of course, your typical hands look this way. Mommy. Those look great. Everything about the black and white sculpts look good. The other accessories that he does come with are these rags, and you can just kind of haphazardly throw them around the figure. And if you place them relatively well, they look good in photography. Though if you're going to put them on a shelf with these, be careful. They do have a tendency to fall. But look at that. You just add them around the figure, and it just adds another layer to this mummy. The other thing that the figure in and of itself comes with is, of course, the chest that is told not to open. And I love that they made sure to make sure the inscriptions look great on it. All the designs. Love the little pharaohs on the side. That looks great. The one thing that I did not know until I actually cracked this thing open is once you open it, yes, it opens, there's a piece of paper in here. And it's the actual scroll from the movie. And look at all the detail they put into that, guys. That looks absolutely astounding. So I'm glad that that's a nice little hidden gem that when you're looking at the figure at the store, you don't see it. Now, speaking of chests, the accessory set, I prefer this chest just because the gold looks beautiful compared to just kind of a more flat look to it. But unfortunately, this one doesn't have any inscriptions like this one does, but it still does open. And if you use this as a background prop, along with the backdrop, let me get a better focus on that so you guys can check it out. I love all the hieroglyphics on there. That looks beautiful. And it has come in handy so much in my photography. And then, of course, the thing that the accessory set primarily comes with, this sarcophagus. And if I can get a light in there, you can see all the inscriptions inside the tomb. Very nice, detailed work and worth it. I mean, look at all the designs on here and how it glimmers in the light. And then you take Imhotep here. I'll just kind of do it quick for camera's sake. Cross his arms. Plop them in there like so. And look at that. Beautifully done piece. So you get the accessory set. And you get all these extra accessories, man. I mean, look at that. Get my cap out of the way. I wish that this was all in like one deluxe set, but picking up both, if you are a Universal Monster fan, this is definitely worth your time, guys. I appreciate even, I mean, yeah, it's a little frustrating that it kind of folds, but still, as you'll see in the photo slideshow at the end, I've used this background several times, and man, does it just accentuate the photos, and just worth your time, definitely. Now, as for articulation, I'm really surprised, this being a mummy figure, he is actually relatively bendy. He has 2 joints on the neck, so you have the regular ball joint, but then he also goes from the shoulders. So look at that. Great play in the neck. That is awesome. And then, of course, the arm goes 360. Now, here's something that I'm thankful for that I've bitched about with other NECA figures. Double jointed elbows. Heck yes. That is a nice addition. Then, of course, the hands go bloop, and the hand goes bloop, and the hand goes bloop. He does have 2 points. He can bend at the waist and the solar plex, which I'm always thankful for. Just make sure to warm it up so you don't break it. And I think I had this lined up right. This may be the back. I may have them backwards. Nope. That's backwards. As you can see, just doing that, he is very bendy all around. Great stuff. This way. That way. Thankfully, unlike Marvel Legends, he doesn't suffer from the butt flap. But here's where I get a little agitated. Double jointed elbows. Single jointed knee. Why? Why? I'll let it go. The only thing you got to watch out for is kind of like with the McFarlanes, you have to watch out for the diaper with the joint getting stuck up under there. It does have the pivot there. Foot goes boop. Foot goes blop. And foot goes wink, 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 wink all the way home. So yeah, just for the mummy figure, I know they have an Imhotep version, which I may eventually get down the line. But just for the mummy version, in and of itself, the way that we're first introduced to the character, absolutely beautiful piece. And then you get that accessory set. And guys, you're going to be one happy little horror fan for sure. Now here's Imhotep next to The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors Freddy Krueger, the Universal Monsters Wolfman, the Trick or Treat Sam, and then the NECA Bioexorcist Beetlejuice that we just recently went over. And then, of course, the beautiful Ultimate NECA's Bride of Frankenstein action figures. And I gotta say, guys, I mean, I don't collect a lot of NECA, but the horror film figures, I am just a sucker for. And you get them all together, even the black and white variants, and they still look absolutely beautiful together. And then you prop up the accessory set that comes for the mummy, and it just kind of feels like you have that ancient Egyptian look. So I appreciate that NECA is kind of giving action figure photographers accessories to help enhance their photos. And as you can see, because they're all NECA, they scale relatively well. Sam, of course, being the teeny tiny one of the bunch. And that's okay. You put them up against the figures, and it still works because that is the legend from the Trick or Treat films. So I pose a question to you all. What's your favorite scary movie? What do you plan to do with your horror action figures? Are you going to do them by lines like Universal Monsters, or more of like the 80s slashers or comedy? Do you guys plan to do action figure photography? Take some photos and share them with us over on the socials. We love to take a look. I had an absolute blast with this action figure. When I initially bought it, I had my reservations, but going through it, photographing it, and just looking at all the accessories, plus the accessory kit that came with it. I mean, look at this, guys, with just a couple of lights, the backdrop, and those accessories. You have a freaking awesome Egyptian-style tomb setup for any type, for posing or action figure photography. This was definitely a great release from NECA, in my personal opinion, and I'm glad that I picked up both. So if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, as I always say, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics, and grab this figure and the accessory set. If not, then you can check out the places we talked about at the beginning of the review. Speaking of, if you did enjoy this review, really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Egyptian bell next to subscribe, that way as I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone. Hey y'all, I got some action figures up for sale to make room for future reviews on the channel. If you're interested, hit me up on the socials or shoot me an email. I'm only using PayPal for now. Check out the Google link in the description for pricing and availability. If something grabs you, we can work out a price. And just a heads up, shipping will be additional based on your location. Thanks for supporting the hunt.